So I have COVID. It's not really funny. I know COVID is very bad, but I have just gone so freaking long without having COVID, and now I have it. So today is Saturday, and basically last night, yesterday afternoon, I took a nap and I woke up and I felt like I was getting a cold because I kept sneezing with increasing frequency. And I just kind of napped and rested, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I definitely am having a cold. And then, well, I thought I was. And then when I woke up this morning, I was like, yep, that is definitely more substance. I have a cold. Like a fever of 100, which is not a fever, I know. It has to be 100.2 or something for a fever. And I was almost laughing at myself because every time I sneeze, I swear I take a COVID test. I swear, I just take so freaking many of them. People laugh at me. And this felt so much like a cold because it was half of my face. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, I have to remain in character. If I sneeze, I have to take a COVID test. So I took one and it was positive instantly. And I was like, oh, well, technically this one is expired. So I'm going to use one of my newer packs, even though I think that they are now allowed to be used beyond the expiration date. Which they didn't realize before, and one of my newer packs also had the same thing, so I definitely have COVID. Hello! So it's day 2 of COVID, and I feel a lot better than I did yesterday, but I did just wake up, and yesterday when I just woke up, I also felt pretty good. Yesterday, my temperature got up to 101.9 before I decided I should probably take Tylenol. Normally, I am anti-Tylenol because I just try and let my body use the fever to help itself, but I did end up taking it last night. Anyway, let me tell you what I'm reading because yesterday I didn't read at all. I basically just slept off and on, but I think I'm going to try to read today. So, the nonfiction book I have going is Mississippi Solo, and this is by Eddie L. Harris. We actually have book club for this today, so I should probably finish it. I'm going to attend book club as long as I'm not napping. And originally I wasn't able to attend today because I'm actually missing my friend's funeral. So, there's that. Anyway, I'm going to try and finish this one, and so far it's so good. It's basically about this guy with no canoeing experience who just up and decides he's gonna canoe all along the Mississippi River all the way to Louisiana, and it's hilarious. High recommend if you're into outdoorsy sort of stuff or travel writing. I've never heard of this guy, which is the main thing I love about Dee Dee's book club, because she introduces you to people that you're like, wow, this possibly could be one of my favorite books of the year. I don't know. To be determined. But that's coming up, so I need to determine it soon. And then I am slowly working my way through Babel. This book I purchased solely based on the cover when I saw Sean from Past Story Time. I think she just hauled it. I don't know that she actually read it, and if she did actually read it, I didn't see her review. But she hauled it, and I was like, wow, that book is so freaking beautiful. So that's why I got it, and it was just kind of on my TBR, with all the other hundreds of books that are on there. And then Sarah from Your True Shelf read it, and she said it was one of her favorite books of the year. So I was like, all right, that is moving to the top of the list. So I am on page... I'm on, apparently, chapter 4. I don't know what page that is. 69. Basically a speculative fiction sort of a thing. Although I'm not sure how speculative can be in the past. But it's set in Victorian England. And basically, this boy has been saved from a cholera epidemic. Basically, his whole village was dead. He was lying next to his mom's dead body. And he was also very sick himself when all of a sudden this guy shows up and gets in his face and has him come with him. So he does. And the guy ends up taking him as his ward. And this guy is basically training him in silvering or something about silver because he thinks he will be talented with it.
And at the same time, he's also training him on, like, oh gosh, brain fog, translating. He thinks that he is someone that will be able to learn a lot of languages and just really values all different languages, but there's certain languages that he values more, and that's a lot about erasure of certain cultures and about which cultures have value. There's loads of racism in here, like on purpose to make a point, and so far it's really good. It has like kind of the vibe of like Harry Potter or his Dark Materials, where it's like set like in a school and has that kind of dark academia sort of vibes and also like fantasy vibes, but it's not like, so far anyway, there's not like dragons and I don't know how to describe Harry Potter and stuff. Like they're not quite low fantasy, but they're definitely not high fantasy. So that kind of like comfort zone for people that are not super comfortable with fantasy, I would say. So this book is amazing, and so far it also might be on my tops of the year. I'm not sure because, as I said, I'm only on page 69. Okay, so I got a new record player, which is perfect time if I'm going to be sick. I think that I am going to listen to Snow Waltz by Lindsay Sterling while I'm reading. I am so obsessed with Lindsay Sterling. I saw her in concert, and it was like the absolute best concert. Her and Bette Midler, my favorite concerts ever. Okay, I think someone escaped Thanksgiving dinner. Look at all these turkeys. Dang, they're giant too. It's hard to see on camera. I am going to be making some oatmeal, and then I'm hoping I can spend loads of time reading today just because I'm feeling pretty decent. I'm also getting Paxlovid or whatever the medication is, the antiviral one, just in case. So yeah, life is good. As far as reading, I got some reading done yesterday, but not a lot. So yesterday I did not feel like I needed to take a nap at all. However, I did just in case because I feel like I need to make my body rest even if I'm not super tired because obviously I'm going through something. So I took an afternoon nap and I ended up sleeping for like 3 hours, which, you know, obviously I did need it. So yeah, I slept for 3 hours. I woke up right at the time when my book club was supposed to start because remember I'm part of Brown Girl Readings book club, Read Solette, and it's like absolutely amazing, and the author was coming and blah blah blah, and I knew all of that, but I just didn't want to set an alarm to wake up at a certain time because I felt like if I was going to sleep that I would sleep the right amount that my body needed, and there's no need to set an alarm when you're sick. So I woke up right when it was supposed to start, and then I had a grocery pickup that was ready at the same time, so I quickly got that. So I could have loads of sugar-free Gatorade and soup that I could pick up, and also ingredients for a homemade soup, which hopefully I'll get to maybe on Wednesday, so I have it for 2 days of work. I'm not sure. I attended the book club after I got back. It was amazing. The author came. He is beautiful. I knew that ahead of time. Some people didn't know that ahead of time. Listen, I'm telling you. Like, okay. I know this is an old picture, but you can totally tell. He has like the lumberjack look, but like a clean lumberjack look. And now he's much more fancy. He lives in France. But he still looks good, let me tell you. But the author event was absolutely amazing. He went into a lot of details about this book that I hadn't heard before. And a lot of it I missed because I arrived so late, but my question basically was, he basically has this sense of wonder about the Mississippi River that is in this book, and this also sense of fear, which that same combo is exactly how I feel about Lake Superior. So I deeply connected with like his journey to like face his fears and discover and unite with this like powerful body of water that just holds such a sense of wonder and fear and all that. So I deeply connected with that. But I asked him, like, okay, so, like, now what? Like, what do you do now? Like, you've done this amazing thing. He went all the way from, like, Minnesota all the way down the Mississippi River to New Orleans. And, like, okay, cool. But now what? Like, how do you top that? And what do you do in, like, your ordinary, regular day life? Because you can't do something like that all the time. Like, that's just insane. Like, how do you feed that need? I think, and he just was really cool talking about how he always tries to do new things and challenge himself all the time, whether that's just trying something that he hadn't done before. Like, he talked about starting to watch the opera and listen to opera and all that, or, you know, maybe it's something else, but I need a bowl. So yeah, that was super, super cool, and I'm really glad I went. The other thing that he said that I didn't get a chance to hear because I was sleeping or getting my food or whatever was basically that this journey was kind of like a half-hearted suicide attempt. And he doesn't write about that in the book, but I think that it is really interesting that he kind of was thinking that, and I just asked because I heard about it after the fact if that was something he kind of realized through the writing. Like, it kind of, like, you know, like, writing is almost like therapy, and you realize things that maybe you didn't know before, or if it was conscious. And it was kind of conscious, but it was very half-hearted, just like, well, if I die, I die. And yeah, just a really interesting book on how he found himself again after doing such a physical challenge and just connecting with nature and all that stuff. But also, just what he says now is he has a new question he asks himself, which is, would I want to die here? And that sounds super morbid, and, like, you don't think about death a lot, but, like, are you doing something where, yes, you would be okay dying here? Like, you know, making sure you're spending your time wisely, I guess. Okay, so my oatmeal of choice today is one I haven't had in a long, long time, but it is just oatmeal with cinnamon and then 2 tablespoons of dark chocolate chips and some peanut butter. You know, dark chocolate chips have, like, flavonoids or something. Okay, so the book that I started now that I finished, Mississippi Solo, which was amazing. For my nonfiction pick is Infidel, which is by Ayan Hirsi Ali. And yeah, I don't know too much about this other than that she was a Muslim woman who basically became a fierce advocate for better conditions for women. I think she's, like, a huge feminist and stuff like that, and has kind of spoke out against Islam. But I guess what might be hard for me about this, just reading the introduction, is the perspective, at least in the introduction, is kind of that all Islam is bad. And I've always been taught that, like, the fundamentalist aspect of it is bad, but that the rest is just, like, an ordinary religion, and that, like, you shouldn't put down people's religions just because they're different from you. But then if there's, like, harm being done to people, you know, then, like, I mean, you can't really hide behind religion if you're doing harm to women. And so I guess I'm just interested in how this book will go going forward, because I guess that growing up as a Catholic, I'm very sensitive to the fact that, like, people viewed my religion, I'm Episcopalian now, but, like, viewed my religion in ways that, like, it was not even true, the things that they were saying that they were basing their opinions on. And so I just find this very interesting about how the introduction kind of talks. Oh, hang on, I have to go. Editing Karen here, because apparently I didn't finish my thought. The introduction was kind of calling for, like, a overall view that Islam is bad as a religion, and that there aren't nuances in the way a lot of people think. So, all right, I'm in line at the pharmacy trying to get my drugs. I'm not sure if I need them or not. I feel like only in the US would they give you drugs when you're kind of starting to be on the mend, but I am not opposed to them, so we'll see if they help a little bit. Hello, it is like 3 o'clock and I'm finally getting ready to read. So basically I've just been living my life. I had breakfast, I picked up my medicine, I had lunch, and then I laid down for my after lunch nap, which has become a habit of mine. However, I didn't actually fall asleep today, which I think is good. I gave my body time to rest, but obviously it didn't really need sleep, so that's fine. So I'm starting to read Infidel, and basically last night I read the introduction and I got to this really good line, but I didn't have a pen because I was just in bed reading. And it said, "There are times when silence becomes an accomplice to injustice." So now I'm going to start with part 1 and see how this goes. So one of the things I noticed about myself is I am so distracted when I'm reading. Like, I'm constantly wanting to Google something or check my phone or whatever. And so I decided that today I was going to try and retrain myself to read for longer stretches of time, because I used to be able to read for hours and hours and hours, and I can still do that when I get to a really good part in a book, but besides that I can't. So I started out so easy. I set my timer for 1 minute and I read, and then I took a break, switched it to 2 minutes, read, took a break, went up to 4, and then doubled it, and I just read 8. And now I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to try and figure out my top books of the year. So I just want like an initial list. Like, obviously this is not going to be my top of the year final because we still have a whole nother month to go, but I'm just going to narrow down as much as I can to like my top 10. And then as I read more in December, I might have to bump some with books that I read and love in December, but we'll see. I thought that would be fun to do right now. So Storygraph is what I put all my books on, and so far this year I've read 126 books, and everything has been kept track of on Storygraph. So let's see which rises to the top as some of the best books. So I have 23 right now. I definitely need to cut it down. Gosh, I read good stuff this year. All right, you guys, I'm halfway through this book. I am basically to the turning point where she starts talking about her adult life. Anyway, the first half is all about her life as a child growing up in Somalia, where basically she was just part of a really, really strict Islamic religion. And yeah, it was just super intense. Like, it's interesting to me that each generation in her family seemed to get more liberal, but they were still like super, super oppressive. One of the things that happened when she was 5 years old is she was left alone with her grandma because her dad had been getting in trouble with the government, and basically as a result they kind of moved all over during her childhood, from Somalia to Ethiopia and Kenya and like just like loads of different places. Right now in the book she's about to go to Canada. But anyway, and then her mother traveled a lot too, visiting her dad who was in prison, I believe in Saudi Arabia. So she was left alone with her grandma, her and her older brother and her younger sister. And the grandma decided that she was going to take it upon herself to make them pure, which involves mutilation of a sort that you guys can probably inference. Yeah. So one by one, they basically had their turn to be fixed in a sort of a way. And it was just like horrible to read, and just horrible that like the grandma would do that when the mom was away, when she knew that like the parents did not want that for their children. And just like, oh my gosh, like it's just so horrible that that is going on places and that it still goes on. anyway, and then like it talks about when she's older, she's 14, she gets her period. I think I marked it down somewhere, so I should actually try and find it. Okay, yeah. So she gets her period for the first time, and she doesn't really know anything about it. No one has explained anything to her. So she is basically like washing out her underwear and then hiding it behind the radiator so it can like kind of dry. And when her mom discovers that this has been going on, she calls her a filthy prostitute. May you be barren. May you get cancer. What the heck? That is obviously the most supportive thing you can ever say to a person. And it's actually her brother who explains to her, he's like 15 at the time. He explains to her that like, hey, this is normal. Like, this is going to happen every month. It means you can have babies. Here's what you need to buy and put in your underwear. Here's some money to do that. Like, what the heck? Why does a 15-year-old have those responsibilities to share that with his sister? Meanwhile, her mom is like screaming about her, may you get cancer. Like, what? It also kind of talks about her first marriage and the fact that she was actually attracted to the person and actually wanted to have fun times with them, but she had to act like she didn't have any experience because otherwise the guy would like divorce her, so she couldn't even like have it be a more two-way street, so to say, because that would show that she knew what she was doing, which was mostly from like some previous experiences that were close to actual sex, but also like just from the book she read and stuff. Hey guys, it's day 4 of me having COVID, and I feel completely fine today, except for the fact that I am covered in hives. So we'll see what I need to do about that. I am so running out of room on these bookshelves. Everything on here I go through on a regular basis, and I make sure that it is on there only if I absolutely love it and want to keep it. I don't just keep books that are like, okay. I had 2 giant stacks that went like about up to that shelf, or like from the floor to that shelf, just stacked. And I finally was able to put them away, even though I did not gain any more shelving just because I double stacked these. So it looks a lot neater, even though I still don't have enough shelves. Hello, it's my last day of being locked in this apartment, which doesn't feel like I'm being locked here at all because I have my record player, I have my books, like life is good. But I am gonna stop the vlog here just because Vlogmas is tomorrow and I'm so freaking excited, and I think I'm just gonna like enjoy the rest of my day without filming my life because I will have plenty of that in the month ahead. But I do quickly want to show you my advent calendar because I am so excited for it and I can't believe I get to start tomorrow. Okay, so this is my advent calendar. Basically, I think that I am trapped in an ice cave and I need to get out, and I get out a little bit each day. I have like this code thing which tells me where I need to go for the next day, because basically the only door of this advent calendar that is numbered is the first day, and after that you have to figure out which door to open every day. I'll quickly show you that. So you can see that this one is what you open the first day, but everything else just has symbols, and like you actually really don't know which one you're gonna open next because it might just be anywhere on here, like who knows. It comes with a storybook, and I was going to read you kind of the backstory behind like where I am and all that stuff, but there's this prologue. It is 4 pages long. That, oh, maybe it's actually more. Plus that, plus a little bit more. So I'm not going to read that to you. I think there's a short little thing I can find and read. Okay, this is much better. What's the story? This is definitely not what you had in mind for your pre-Christmas ski trip.
Taken by surprise by an avalanche, you take cover in a rock alcove using the last of your strength before the snow buries everything behind you. Although you are safe for now, how do you get back out of there? You look around and discover you are trapped in a cave. The way back is blocked, so your only hope is to press on ahead. Make a move and start exploring the cave. You may be able to find another exit. Yeah, so basically tomorrow I'm gonna have to read the whole prologue, and then you rip out the page for the mystery every single day. So I will rip out the mystery for day 1 and read it, figure it out. It will probably prompt me to open the door at some point, and then I just rip out a page every day and solve it. So I think this is gonna be so fun. This is such a good alternative to like a consumerist sort of advent calendar. Oh, and there's also a bookish one, but it was too expensive because it was the one for this year, and the ice cave is actually last year's advent calendar, but the bookish one is now on sale. So if I'm liking this like a day or two in, I'm totally gonna get it because it's way cheap now that it is so close to advent, and well, it is advent. Anyway, I will see you guys soon, and I will see a lot of you because I'm so doing Vlogmas.